For most of my adult life, a bottle of bug spray sat on the shelf by my back door. Every time I wanted to sit in my own garden, I sprayed it on my arms, my neck, behind my ears. The smell of it was something I accepted as the price of a summer evening outside. Then one July, I was visiting my friend Dorothy, who had this enormous lavender border all along her patio. We sat out there for 3 hours. The sun went down, the fireflies came out, and I realized I had not been bitten once. I had not sprayed a thing. I had not even thought about mosquitoes the entire evening. I asked her what her secret was. She waved her hand at the lavender and said, "That is the secret." I have not owned bug spray in 15 years. I went home and pulled that bottle off my shelf. I never replaced it. Most people think of mosquito control as a chemical problem that requires a chemical solution. Something in a can, something synthetic, something you spray on your body or around your yard. The idea that plants themselves could be working against mosquitoes around the clock, all season long, is something most gardeners simply never encounter. But here is the truth. These plants have been keeping biting insects away from human beings for thousands of years. Long before aerosol cans, long before DEET, long before any of it, ancient Egyptians, Romans, and traditional communities across Asia and Africa all understood that certain plants created a hostile environment for mosquitoes. They planted them near doorways, along pathways, and around gathering spaces for exactly this purpose. Modern science has now confirmed the specific compounds behind what ancient people figured out through careful observation. And some of what that science tells us is genuinely astonishing. Here are 10 of the best. Plant any of them this season, and your garden begins working against mosquitoes from the moment they go in the ground. If you are new here, welcome to the Gardening Grandma. I have been gardening for over 30 years, and every week I share what I have learned. Hit that subscribe button right now so you do not miss a single video. Now, let us get into the list. Plant 1. Lavender. Dorothy's lavender border was the first time I truly understood what this plant was actually doing. The same quality that makes lavender smell extraordinary to us, that clean, floral, slightly medicinal fragrance, makes it absolutely unbearable to mosquitoes. Here's what most gardeners never discover until the damage is already done. Lavender produces 3 specific compounds called linalool, linaloyl acetate, and camphor. Research has confirmed that these compounds disrupt the very olfactory receptors mosquitoes use to detect carbon dioxide and body heat from a potential host. Lavender does not just smell good, it is actively interfering with the sensory system mosquitoes use to find you. Plant it along pathways near outdoor seating and at entry points to your home. Bruise the leaves or flowers between your fingers and rub them directly on exposed skin for a natural repellent effect that works beautifully. Dried lavender sachets tucked into outdoor cushion covers extend the benefit even further through the evening. My rule is simple: plant lavender where you sit, not only where it looks nice. Plant 2. Citronella grass. Most people know citronella from the candle, but the candle is a pale, diluted imitation of the real thing. The actual plant produces citronella oil at concentrations no candle manufacturer can come close to matching, and growing it near your patio is one of the most direct steps you can take to reduce mosquito pressure outdoors. Here is what most gardeners never discover until the damage is already done. Citronella grass releases its active compounds continuously, passively, and at far higher concentrations than any wax candle. When you plant it near your seating area, you are creating a living diffuser that operates all day and all evening without needing to be lit, replaced, or repurchased. Citronella grass loves full sun and regular moisture. In cooler climates, grow it in large containers that can come inside for winter. It grows large, sometimes 5 to 6 feet, so give it real space. Crush the leaves occasionally to amplify the repellent effect in your immediate area. My rule is simple. One good-sized container of citronella grass near your chairs does more work than 10 candles ever could. Plant 3. Lemon balm. Lemon balm is the plant that seems almost too good to be true. It is easy to grow, practically impossible to kill, spreads readily, makes a lovely tea, has documented calming properties, and repels mosquitoes. It is the overachiever of the herb garden, and most people have no idea what it is quietly doing while they are sitting near it. Here is what most gardeners never discover until the damage is already done. Lemon balm contains high concentrations of citronellol, the same compound responsible for much of citronella grass's effectiveness. Rubbing crushed lemon balm leaves directly on your skin gives you a natural, pleasant-smelling repellent that most people find far more agreeable than anything synthetic. One critical growing note: lemon balm spreads aggressively. Plant it in an open bed and it will take over within a season or two. Grow it in containers, or sink the pot into the soil to contain the roots. Place them near seating areas and doorways where incidental contact releases the oils naturally throughout the day. My rule is simple. Grow it in a pot, brush past it often, and let it do the quiet work it has been doing for gardeners for centuries. Plant 4. Marigolds. Most people think of marigolds as cheerful filler flowers, good for a pop of orange or yellow along a border. That reputation sells them completely short. Tagate species have a history of practical insect deterrence stretching across cultures and centuries, and the science behind that reputation is real and well documented. Here is what most gardeners never discover until the damage is already done. The strong, distinctive scent that most people either love or dislike about marigolds comes from compounds called thiophenies throughout the foliage. These compounds have demonstrated repellent activity against mosquitoes in published research. The root system also produces exudates that affect insects in the soil around the plant, building a deterrence that works above and below ground at the same time. Plant marigolds densely around the perimeter of patios, near outdoor furniture, and along garden borders. They want full sun and regular deadheading to keep blooming through the season. They are annuals in most climates, so you replant each year, but they are inexpensive and the return is generous. My rule is simple. Wherever you plan to sit outdoors this summer, surround that space with marigolds. Plant 5. Basil. Here's a detail that changes the way most people think about their herb garden. Basil, the same plant you are growing for pasta and bruschetta, is also one of the more potent mosquito-repelling plants you can keep near your outdoor dining space, and most gardeners are already growing it without realizing what else it is doing for them. Here is what most gardeners never discover until the damage is already done. Basil contains eugenol, linalool, and methylchavicol, compounds with well-documented repellent activity against multiple mosquito species. But the real practical advantage basil has over every other plant on this list is this: you are already motivated to tend it. You will water it, harvest it, prune it regularly throughout the season. That handling releases the aromatic oils right when and right where you are spending time outdoors. Grow basil in large pots near outdoor eating areas and near the grill. Regular harvesting of the leaves keeps the plant bushy and productive, and the oils released during harvest give you a burst of repellent effect exactly when you need it most. My rule is simple. Put a pot of basil on the table where you eat outside and let it protect the meal and the people enjoying it. I want to stop here for a moment. Drop your U.S. state or your hardiness zone in the comments right now. I read every single one, and knowing where you are growing shapes exactly what I cover each week. And if you have not subscribed yet, now is a very good time. Number 6 on this list is the one that surprised even the researchers who studied it. Plant 6, catnip. This is the one I want you to stay with for a moment. Catnip, the plant famous for sending cats into pure ecstasy, was tested by researchers at Iowa State University directly against DEET. The active compound in catnip, nepetalactone, repelled mosquitoes approximately 10 times more effectively than DET at equal concentrations in laboratory conditions. Here is what most gardeners never discover until the damage is already done. Nepetalactone does not work the same way most repellents work. Most repellents mask your scent from mosquitoes. Nepetalactone actively triggers an avoidance response in the mosquito's nervous system. It does not just block the signal, it sends a signal that says go elsewhere. That is a meaningfully different mechanism, and it helps explain why the research results were so striking. Catnip is a perennial mint family herb that grows easily in most climates. Like lemon balm, it benefits from container growing to keep it contained. Crush the leaves and rub them on skin for direct protection. If you have cats, grow it in an elevated container. They will find it the moment it goes in the ground. My rule is simple. When published science says a plant outperforms DEET, you plant it next to every chair in your garden. Plant 7. Rosemary. Rosemary came from the wild Mediterranean coast, where it developed a formidable chemical arsenal to survive intense insect pressure without irrigation, without fertilizer, and without any human help at all. That same arsenal is what makes it so useful in your garden today. Here is what most gardeners never discover until the damage is already done. Rosemary contains camphor, alpha-pinene, and cineole in concentrations high enough that densely planted specimens release them passively into the surrounding air. Research has confirmed significant repellent activity against multiple mosquito species from these compounds. You do not have to do anything except plant it. Here is the additional benefit most gardeners miss entirely. When you want to amplify the repellent effect at an outdoor gathering, throw a few fresh rosemary sprigs directly onto hot coals or an open fire. The aromatic smoke has been used for centuries as a space-clearing insect deterrent. Ancient Mediterranean communities did exactly this at their outdoor gatherings. You are not doing something new. You are doing something very, very old. My rule is simple. Plant it near the fire pit and throw a handful on the coals before every gathering. Plant 8. Peppermint. Peppermint is so thoroughly associated with flavor and freshness that its practical outdoor utility gets completely overlooked. That is a mistake worth correcting, because mentha is one of the most effective contact repellents in the plant world, and it grows with an enthusiasm that makes it almost impossible to fail with. Here is what most gardeners never discover until the damage is already done. The menthol in peppermint actively disrupts mosquito olfactory function. Research has also shown that peppermint oil has larvicidal effects in standing water, meaning it can disrupt mosquito development before the insects ever become airborne adults. A few drops in stagnant water you cannot drain or empty addresses the problem at the larval stage before it reaches you. Grow peppermint in containers. It will take over any open garden bed within one season. Place pots near seating areas, doorways, and outdoor kitchens. Bruise or crush the leaves regularly to keep the oil release active. Rubbing fresh leaves on your skin gives you a cooling, pleasant-smelling repellent that most people find far more agreeable than anything synthetic. My rule is simple: grow it in a pot, crush a handful before you sit down, and enjoy the cooling effect as a bonus in warm weather. Plant 9, lemon thyme. Lemon thyme is the quiet one on this list. A low-growing, spreading herb that most people tuck between pavers or at the edge of rock gardens purely for the look. It turns out to be one of the most genuinely effective mosquito-repelling plants you can grow when used the right way. Here's what most gardeners never discover until the damage is already done. Researchers specifically tested crushed lemon thyme leaves rubbed directly on skin and found repellency comparable to a 25% DEET formulation for approximately 60 to 90 minutes of outdoor protection. The mechanism comes from thymol, carvacrol, and citrol, released from the crushed foliage, compounds that are potent disruptors of the olfactory system mosquitoes depend on to locate a host. Plant lemon thyme along pathways and between paving stones where foot traffic and incidental brushing release the oils naturally throughout the day. It thrives in poor, well-drained soil with full sun and asks almost nothing from you once established. Simple, small, and impressively effective. My rule is simple: plant it where you walk, let your feet do the work, and let the oils do the rest. Plant 10, lemongrass. I saved lemongrass for last because it may be the oldest, most globally used, and most thoroughly validated natural mosquito repellent that exists. Ancient Egypt, India, Southeast Asia, Sub-Saharan Africa, multiple civilizations with no connection to each other independently arrived at the same conclusion over thousands of years. This plant keeps insects away. Here is what most gardeners never discover until the damage is already done. Lemongrass contains extraordinarily high concentrations of geraniol. Research published in multiple peer-reviewed journals has shown protection times against Aedes mosquitoes, the species associated with dengue and Zika, of up to 2.5 hours from geraniol-based formulations at modest concentrations. Studies have also confirmed larvicidal effects in standing water, meaning lemongrass addresses the mosquito problem at multiple life stages at the same time. In warm climates, lemongrass is perennial and grows into large clumps over several seasons. In cooler regions, grow it in large containers and bring it inside before frost. Crush the stalks near the base to release the highest concentration of repellent compounds into the surrounding air. My rule is simple: position it at the perimeter of your outdoor space, crush the stalks before guests arrive, and let thousands of years of accumulated human wisdom go to work. 10 plants: lavender, citronella grass, lemon balm, marigolds, basil, catnip, rosemary, peppermint, lemon thyme, and lemongrass. When ancient Egyptians planted aromatic grasses around their homes, when Romans grew lavender and rosemary near their doorways and gathering fires, when traditional communities across Asia positioned lemongrass around their living spaces, they were not performing rituals without purpose. They were doing empirical biology. They observed, they tested, they refined, and they arrived at exactly the same answers that modern science is now confirming in clinical trials and published research. The ancient world was paying very close attention, and now so are you. You do not need to reach for the spray can. You do not need to douse yourself in anything synthetic before sitting in your own garden. What you need is the right plants in the right places, doing what they have been doing for human beings for thousands of years. If you found this useful, please leave a comment and tell me which plant you are adding to your yard this season, and share this with someone you know who is still fighting mosquitoes with a spray can. This information might genuinely change how they spend their summer evenings. Subscribe if you have not already. New video every single week, and there is so much more I want to share with you. Until next time, happy gardening. Take care of yourselves and take care of those beautiful gardens of yours.